Roofman is the story of Jeffery Manchester, played ably by Channing Tatum, with a strong supporting role played by Kirsten Dunst. Jeffery Manchester is a man who, after he comes back from Afghanistan, finds himself unsuccessful in civilian life. His wife leaves him because he's unable to provide materially for their children. His friend tells him that he can use his special skills, which seem just to be normal observation, to become successful. He uses these powers of observation to rob about 45 McDonald's by entering through the roof. We see him at a birthday party for his girl, where instead of surrendering to the police, he puts the lives of his children in danger by trying to run away. He's caught quite quickly. He is sentenced to prison for quite a long time because technically he did kidnap some McDonald's employees when he locked them in a freezer. His wife cuts off his contact with his kids, and we see him for a few scenes in prison. He uses his super duper powers of observation to notice that there is a way that can escape, so he does. But after escaping, he does not seem to have much of a plan, so he decides to hide at a local Toys R Us. The reason why he's staying there is because he needs to wait for about a month for his friend, who is a master forger, to come back so he can have documents forged for himself. He uses the time he has to spy on the Toys R Us workers. Peter Dinklage puts in a strong performance as the manager and perform actions that can only be described as the classic definition of virtue signaling, like donating stolen toys to a church toy drive. As he is doing that, he is noticed by some of the church ladies who invite him in to chat. One thing leads to another, and he's invited to a singles meeting at the church where Lee Wainscott, Kirsten Dunst, and he flirt. He tells the church ladies some cockamamie story about being an undercover spy, and not everyone believes it, but Lee does and invites him on a date. They begin dating, and he ingratiates himself into their lives by toys stolen from the store and an attempt at being a father figure. Eventually, his friend tells him that he will need a lot of money to get the forged documents, so Jeffrey plans one last heist. He's going to rob the store that he's been staying at. He decides to rob them on the busiest day of the year, which is Christmas Eve, because it's a store, and when he can be sure that Lee will not be there. Things go wrong almost immediately, and he punches a security guard in the face as he's running away. Lee enters the store and recognizes his eyes. His friend tells him the documents are ready and he should leave the country, but he's caught when he goes back to visit Lee one more time. Lee tipped off the cops that she knew who the robber was, and they set up the arrest. The movie hints that Jeffrey was subconsciously aware of this and went anyway. But is the movie any good? I would say it's not a good or bad movie. It's an average one. There are three things I liked about it. The first is that despite the ridiculousness of the crimes depicted, the filmmakers handle it in a serious way. That's a good decision for two reasons. The first is that we get to see Jeffrey's desperation, and while there are humorous moments, it's never written off as a joke. The second reason it's good is because it shows that while Jeffrey didn't kill anyone, that was just a question of luck, so it gives the story a little bit of an edge. The next thing that I liked about this film is that it is unapologetically from Jeffrey's perspective. We barely see his wife's face. The film portrays him as this guy who only resorts to violence by accident and is always apologetic when this happens. It's gaslighting us. Jeremy isn't a great guy who just made bad choices. You don't accidentally rob 45 McDonald's. He uses the abuser strategy, lashes out, and then apologizes. Another thing that is an indication of this is his friend, the forger. If he really existed, the FBI would be much more interested in him than in a burglar, and Jeffrey would have had a plea deal, but Jeffrey languishes in prison, so I think that character was either made up by Jeffrey or the writers of this movie. The last good thing about this movie is the performance of Kirsten Dunst. I don't mean this in a mean way, but she is completely believable as a woman in her early 40s that works in a toy story. She looks ordinary and even dowdy. While male actors are given the chance to be conventionally attractive, see Timothée Chalamet, actresses are usually held up to a much higher standard. So I like the fact that Mary Jane was able to grow up and not required to look like a bombshell. So while it has its moments, I'd say it isn't a movie you need to go out of your way to find. All right, that's my review. I am trying to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. If you want to help me do that, you can like this video if you liked what I had to say. You can subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 30 subscribers, 40 subscribers by the end of July. So I think we can do it. We're at 20 now. We got a little bit of momentum. Yeah, and also another way to help is if you have something that you think I should watch, if you think that I would enjoy it, please leave it in the comment section and I'll put it on a list. I'll make like a master list of the things that I am watching. All right, thanks for your time. Bye-bye.